Welcome back, guys. Today I decided to make that tutorial on how to do a screen replacement on a Galaxy A30. I made a previous video where this device is responsive. It can have phone calls coming in, it vibrates, but you can't see an image on it. And like I mentioned, I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to show this and get straight to the point. You might have a screen that looks like this also, but it's going to be the same process. Depending on the type of screen that you order, or depending on where you get it, it may come as a frame complete, I guess, with the screen added on the frame. This is easy. I got this strictly for this video, to make it easier, because half the time new users try to attempt this on their own, and this is a lot easier compared to getting the screen and having to add it on the frame yourself. This takes a little bit more skills of adding the glue and heating it up and whatnot. So since we have the frame, we're just going to put it to the side, and this is, like I said, this is what we're going to be using on the replacement on the Galaxy A30. What you're going to do first is heat the back. It might take a couple of minutes. I have the hot plate. Just heat it up. Before you do, if you're able to turn off the screen, turn off the screen. In my case, I can't see it, and I'm hoping, or not hoping, but I'm pretty sure the screen is off. It hasn't been charged for a while. Move the SIM tray to the side and the SIM card, and there you go. We're done with that tool. It's just a one-time use only. And then you should be able to heat it from here. Like I said, this is just heated just enough to where it's hot to touch and make it easier to remove. If you have a hot plate, that's good. If not, you can use a hair blow driver, or you can use one of these heat guns, whichever is easier for you. But the whole process is just to make it easier to remove. Let's give it a couple of minutes, and we'll see what happens from there. All right. Once it's nice and heated, I left this on for about 6 minutes. This is at a controlled temperature. Now you got to remember, the hotter the temperature, the less time it's gonna take. Some people do this in a minute, 2 minutes, but I try to keep it nice and evenly heated. Once you have it heated, just try prying it from the side. Now this is the side that's right between the SIM tray and the back glass. You're gonna have a small opening. It doesn't matter where you start, anywhere on the back, but for me, I find it easier to start here where the SIM tray is at. Once you have a small opening, then you can just slide your pry tool just like that. And I find it easier, I probably will use the guitar pick in a little bit. I find it easier using playing cards, because they're longer than the guitar pick. And there you go. You should just slide right in. Flip it around. It may rip, so get prepared to grab another card. Okay, now we go grabbing another card. And another quick tip: if your phone is a little bit still, I guess, tough to remove, try to heat it up a little, because with every second that goes by, it starts to harden back up. So that's just a quick tip. In my case, I might have to do that, because towards the top it's already getting hard. So back to the hot plate goes. 30 seconds later, we should continue. Like I said, it doesn't need that much once it's heated up just enough. There we go. And we're almost there. never get it all. There we go. And we have it removed. All right, move this to the side. If you want to reuse the glue, just put it back. Just towards the edge was a little bit rough, but if you're still able to use it, all you have to do is just heat it up towards the end. All right, let's move on. Okay, you should see screws in the back here. If you see any loose glue, just remove it. And you should see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws on the top, and 7 screws or 8 screws on the bottom. Some of the screws might be in there a little bit tighter than others, so you may need you can use your fingertip, or you can use tweezers just from the adhesive. Now make sure it's fully unscrewed before you start pulling. It should come out fairly easy. There we go. Luckily I have this boarded up to keep screws flying left and right. I would say it's safer to use your fingertips. There we go. Then once you have all screws, and make sure you confirm that removed, then you are safe to remove the back housing from the frame. You can use your pry tool, and now the frame is located between the purple, depending on the color of your screen, which just meets between the purple and black. Good visual, so that way you pry at the right spot, and just like that between. Now if you have all black, it might be a little harder to tell, but you should fairly, with just the right amount of pressure, pry between. I'm getting tongue twisted. Now I can use my pry tool, my target, and from here it's just a go. And just like that. This is where the speaker is located, and the power and volume up buttons on here. Just again move this to the side. First things first, before you work on any type of device, disconnect the battery, and the battery connector is located right over here, using your fingertips or a plastic pry tool, whichever is easier. And then we begin by disassembling the whole unit. This is one flex. Now move this to the side. This is your front camera. Move it to the side to where you know where it's at. This is an antenna. You can, using your fingertips or a plastic pry tool. I find my fingertips a little bit easier. Just remove it gently. You don't want to break it. and then this connector. Okay, once we have the top ready, you will just gently wiggle it out. It should just come out with a little bit of pressure. Since we have everything is connected. Oh, screw. I almost forgot about that one. One screw. It should be black. And make sure you have one, because some devices have two, one on the right, one on the left. But luckily I caught that before I started prying a little harder. But from there, like I say, it should just come out with just a gentle amount of force. Move that to the side. And then we have the speakers. The ear speaker and the vibrator. Where we're going to begin with the charging port. Charging port has a screw over here. And remove these other two screws. And this should just pop up with your fingertips or a plastic pry tool. Move it to the side. Since we remove the screws here, or the screw, all you gotta do is gently pop it up, just as you pry the motherboard up. We got one side up. It was there we go. And just like that, charging port came off. Now we would have to pry these up, ear speaker and the vibrator. And to make things easier, just heat it up and it should pop off. Alright, once we have it just heat it up just a tad bit, and again just pry just enough, and boom, it should pop right off without damaging it, and in one piece. Move that to the side, and now onto the vibrator. And if you're wondering what am I using, I'm using a flathead screwdriver. Should come in one of these kits. This is most likely the kit that you should be receiving with your LCD. I'm not advertising for anybody, I'm just trying to give you a general idea. Usually this is what comes included with it. I just had that sitting around. Now I'm back to prying. And boom, move it to the side. Last but not least, the battery. I've seen people use alcohol and they just squeeze it in on the side. I don't like to use any type of liquids around any batteries. And for me, I find it easier just to heat up the screen completely. Since we're replacing it, I mean, worst case scenario, you're going to crack it even more. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this video, is to replace the whole screen. Again, we're just going to heat it up to where it's able to lift off a lot quicker, because if you don't heat it up, it's going to be really, really tough. It's going to be on there very, very, like I was going to say, very good. The bond between the glue and the battery's on there. So let's heat up the battery for about, give or take, about 5 minutes on the heating pad. I have mine at 80 degrees. And if you're using a heat gun, it's just hot enough to touch. You don't want to burn through the battery. And just let it sit. Alright, once our 5 minutes are up, let's just go ahead and put this to the side. We're gonna go ahead and pry it up. Nothing sharp. This is just to get between the sides. It don't matter which side you start, left or right, whichever is easier for you. And the whole goal is just to pry up just a tad bit. And to make it easier, playing cards. Once we have a little opening, just like that. If you did a good job, you should still have enough adhesive on it, because like I said, I heated it up just enough to where it's less struggle, and you should be good from there. You can see you have just the screen left on here, no parts left. And just to make sure it matches up evenly with your part replacement. And if you see some difference, you can move some parts over, just like this silver plating. This is for the ear speaker. You can move it over, and like I said, make sure it matches up before you complete the repair. And everything here matches up besides the silver plating. Another tip: if you pry too hard on your battery, put it on a flat surface and just push down just right after it's heated up, because it's a lot easier once it's heated up, and it should be good as new. It shouldn't be as curved if you pry too hard. In this case, I'm going to add some 3M tape on here just to make the glue a little bit better. Or if you have the glue that came with the battery, even better. Like I said, some double-sided 3M tape should work. Just add it on the back. Once you're done adding the 3M on the back of the battery, I'm going to let it sit flush, just like that. And if you did it right, it should sit perfectly and evenly. Okay, moving on. Let's get this ear speaker piece out. We're just gonna pry it. Just so you can get a good visual. The metal should be like in a box. Just pry between the frame and that, and it should come off in one piece. And the adhesive is still on here, so we're going to just reuse that. And this is what it should look like. You can get a good visual. Just like that. And just let it sit exactly to the way it was on the other previous screen. And just like that, flush. We add back the ear speaker, metal connectors on the bottom, and we're good to go from there. And from here, it's a simple process. You pretty much put it back in reverse order. Feel free to just watch this, or if not, just skip forward. I'm gonna put the, and then comes the motherboard. Just like that, everything's sitting flush. Camera. Don't forget the screw. It should go in the golden circle. Just like that. Everything's sitting evenly, everything's sitting flush. And then goes the charging port. Just like that. And the connector. Again, guys, everything should just sit evenly, no pressure. The screw should hold everything in. Okay, once you have your charger port sitting flush, everything, you're gonna, this connector might stick out a little bit. Here we go, you can see it's moving. I'm just gonna do is just press it down to where it is laying flat. There you go. Now if it moves, it's okay, because once we add the cover, it should sit back. In the meantime, let's go ahead and put this antenna back and connect it. Just pop right in. It might take a couple of seconds, challenging seconds. There we go. Pops right in. And make sure it's sitting flush. Alright. And if you guys are still bothered and this won't sit flush, you can go ahead and grab 3M tape, double-sided tape. Just put it between the two holes, because there's two holes on the left and right. Pretty much this is to where it connects both of them, so that way it sits flush. Once we have our double-sided tape, they should hold the connector in place, and you shouldn't have to worry about it popping off. Just like that. And double-sided tape comes in clutch. Okay, from here you bring your flex cable, which connects the charging port and the screen together. Let me start from here. And then once we're good, we're gonna plug in the battery. We make sure every connection is firm and in place. Antenna's good, and plug in the battery. There we go. Now before we put the screws back, I highly recommend that you put the screen to test, because it's gonna make it a little harder once screws are in and the screen's not working. If done correctly, there we should snap into place, and let's give it a try. There you go, we have life. So that way we know it's successfully installed. No lines, no cracks, no zigzags. And then from here we proceed to adding the screws back. Screws should be the same size, so don't panic if they were mixed up or in the wrong order. So you should have no issues with that. And I'm going to test this screen a little bit more after this video, but this is just to show you how to get the screen on. It's not going in. Oh, it's popping. Oh, it's not in. I thought I popped it in place. Alright, again make sure everything is nice and sitting flush. I accidentally forgot to add a screw to the charging port. If you guys caught that, I went back and fixed that. That's why the frame wasn't sitting well with the housing, the mid frame. So now everything's flush, and we proceed to adding the screws. Just to verify, we should have 6 screws on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, just to make sure they are all there. And then from here, this is pretty much easy. Just look through wherever you're missing adhesive. Missing adhesive on this side, so I'm just going to add the double-sided tape. From here, it should be good. And I'm going to add some on this side, so that way the back glass sits back nice and firm. Once you have your adhesive added, let's go ahead and apply the back glass. And just to make sure it's a done deal, make sure your phone is powered off. And we're going to heat it up just a tad bit more. We're going to heat it up for about 2 minutes. Now before you heat it up, make sure your device is powered off. You don't want to have a screen image burn while you're heating it up. Once your 2 minutes are up, just make sure it's on there firmly. I'm just going to use a rag or wipe, whichever you have. Just let it cool down for a little bit. I'm gonna pop our sim tray in there. Right here, where are we at? Nice. No gaps. Sitting perfectly. Alright, powered on, and we should be good from there. If you found this video helpful, guys, again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, these videos are free. Just liking and subscribing should be enough. I just powered this off, but you should be fine from here. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave it in the description, or not the description, but the comment section. I should get back to you. Appreciate you watching the video.